Hey guys, this is Chad Corbett, and Frank Patrick is also on the line. No, marketing ploys aside, we've actually overfilled the meeting. We hit our max, so if you had trouble getting in, sorry about that. Be sure and hold your spot because we're apparently locked out. And GoToWebinar keeps showing me every 3 seconds.
Well,
So thank you guys so much for your interest and for getting here early. We try to start these usually a couple minutes after the hour, but since we have a full house, I guess we may as well go ahead and get started now.
yeah, let's go ahead and kick it off, Chad. I guess we're going to record this, and we'll be able to get this out to the folks that were unable to. I'm extremely excited that you could join me today. Once again, I've got a special guest, Chad Corbett from All the Leads, that's here today, and Chad and I are going to share with you how his company can help you list more probate properties in less time while decreasing your costs. Chad and I have been working together on a system to put your probate marketing on autopilot so you can spend your time listing and selling homes instead of stuffing envelopes and licking stamps. So Chad, this is, I'm in your wheelhouse now, so I'm going to let you you share with the gang, and if it's okay, I'll pop in and ask a few questions now and then, and I'll watch what questions we have coming across from the group.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, look in the GoToWebinar control panel, probably on your right-hand side. There's a questions box. So feel free to drop any questions you have in there. And at the end, I will do a Q&A, or Frank can bring them up as they're relevant to the presentation. My name's Chad Corbett, so I'm one of the co-founders of a company called All the Leads. I have done just about everything one can do in real estate. I started out in ski resort, beach resort, whole ownership, sale, development, and sales. So I've had license in West Virginia, Virginia, Tennessee, and Hawaii. And I've worked in several other markets too, doing non-licensed activities. So I've done a little bit of everything. I came up in resort markets, kind of hit my corporate ceiling in 2011. I was living in Maui and really just realized that money didn't matter as much to me as life. So I took a year off and did what anybody would do. I fly fished and camped my way across North America and ended up landing in Roanoke, Virginia. So I went from a median price point of 1.35 million in Maui to a median price of 140 in Roanoke, and couldn't quite understand how the hell anyone could make a living at that. So I started out investing there. I started buying houses and wholesaling, and I went from wholesaling wasn't a good ethics fit for me, so I started a lease option program with, I'm proud to say, a 95% success rate, which the national average is 15. So we did some really neat things with creative financing and helped a lot of people get in homes during the recession. And then I started flipping houses. Was pretty good at that, and it was so easy to sell my flips. I thought, well, I'll just start doing this for other people. Kind of along that same storyline, I had my aha moment with probate. So a lady had responded to, this was I pulled a list of high equity homes that hadn't transferred in the last 9 years based on NAR statistics. I thought, what the heck, I'll try that campaign. And a lady called me to tell me to take her off her list and never call her again. She was going to die in her house. And about 60 days later, she was off the list. But 60 days later, her daughter calls me just frantic. And her mother had a massive stroke. She didn't have a long-term care plan. She couldn't afford the hospital bills. She didn't know what she was going to do. All of her equity, her entire net worth was wrapped up in that house. It was held free and clear. So it was about half a mile down the road. I said, listen, would it be okay if I come down in, say, 2 hours? Just give me some time to do some homework. She's like, well, I didn't think you would be here that quick. So I met with her. I provided her with 4 options. Option 1 was continue doing, like, as I found out, it had been on the market for 12 months with a Remax agent, no showings, no offers. So option 1 was the cash sale. Option 2 was an as-is sale. Option 3 was empty the personal property out of the house, do some light work, and then do a conventional sale. And option 4 was option 3 combined with creative financing. What ended up happening in that deal is I very quickly pulled in a contractor, a painter, and a antique furniture specialist, estate sale company. We were able to generate $5,000 from the furniture she almost donated to Goodwill. We took that $5,000 and paid $2,500 to the contractors and the painters and everyone else. And we lined up 4 buyers. We took the best one, took a 6% option fee, not a deposit. We took a fee, so she had no risk. It was her money if they didn't close. And then we rented it for $1,100 a month. They closed, I think, 8 months later. Once we got there, they had one utility bill left unpaid on their credit report. So she ended up making $25,000 more just because she called, and I kind of pulled it together at a whim. But we made her $25,000 more, and we turned 2 of the 3 buyers who didn't get that house into conventional buyers within the next 30 days. And for me, I was just, a light went off, and I'm like, my God, how many of these people are there? Like, how many people are in her situation every month? So I decided to go to the courthouse and find out. And like, you guys have probably learned, that's a pretty painful task. So I went to the county clerk's office. I figured out how I waited for the computer. When I finally got to the computer, I pulled it up. I had to handwrite everything, and then bring it back and do all that. And I went once, and then this company was born. I said, you know what? What if I could systemize this and benefit myself from having data access? But what if I could teach other people to do what I just did for Pam and spread that across the country? And that's really my why. That's why I'm here. That's why I do this. I've taught thousands of agents over the last 4 years how to do this the way that was the least amount of work, but the highest level of service for me. And we've built it into a system and built a bunch of software and automation around it. So the goal for me is to affect as much change as I can on the overall community through you guys, but by making your life easier, freeing up all your time so you can go do what you're good at. You're in the people business. So you can focus on people, and we can focus on data and logistics and software and code and everything that we do. So that's kind of who I am and how I got here. Maybe more than you wanted to know, but it always helps to know who's driving, right?
Definitely.
So what we're going to cover today, we're going to look at, oh no, wrong slide. Sorry guys, I borrowed some slides from, excuse me 1 second. I have a course called Probate Crash Course, but since you guys I'll call you guys an advanced class since you've already done Frank's training. And I had another slide deck for you guys.
Well, I'm a firm believer that you have to continually educate yourself. I just had this discussion with my 28-year-old son who's looking for a new job because he wants to make more money. And I asked him, I'm like, well, what have you done to improve yourself so you're worth more money? And I got this blank 28-year-old son stare. Thought maybe for a minute, yeah, there was something wrong with what I was wearing. You know, he's just like looking right through me. And you know, I don't know where I heard this, but I'm a firm believer that you have to learn more if you want to earn more, right? And I asked him what he wanted to do to learn more to make himself more attractive, you know, to future employers. And he left. So
I think most realtors do too. So kudos to everybody on this call. I mean, you guys have already made an investment above and beyond what you have to do. Like most realtors stop with continuing, you know, their 60 hours and then continuing education. That's it. So kudos to you guys for raising the bar for yourself.
Well, I've always made my living doing what other people didn't want to do. You know, it's even back in, you know, the early 2000s when I got started in the business, everybody in my office was making money and doing well, and I was trying to figure out where my place was going to be in the real estate world. And a call came through from City Mortgage Group. They wanted someone to do a BPO, and the call went to 3 agents, and nobody wanted to do it. And somebody looked across the room and was like, "Hey, the new guy will do it. Give it to the new guy. He's not doing anything." And that's literally what started my career. No one else wanted to do a broker price opinion for $150 because the real estate market was going crazy and people were making money hand over fist. And so that's how I got my start. I started doing broker price opinions for City Mortgage because no one else wanted to do them. And then I got the REO listings, and it started to grow, and people were looking at me like, man, you're crazy. You're doing a ton of work. You could just be flipping condos like we're doing. And then, of course, 2006 came and turned into 2007. My business went from 80 houses a year to 250 because I was doing what no one else wanted to do.
And all those other guys got wiped out, didn't they?
Yeah, they were all working at Starbucks. They went from hero to zero real fast. And as I saw the REO opportunity begin to fade, I was looking for, how can I transfer these skills, and for my agents that were following me and had been through my education program and were being coached by me, how can we transition, to another niche market where there's opportunity for us and to use these same skills to use our crew. And that was probate, because it works. I mean, we're talking about, for the most part, vacant properties that need some services, sometimes above and beyond what the average real estate agent's willing to do.
Yep. Frank, have you ever read Blue Ocean Strategy?
I have not read the book.
Oh man, jump on Amazon. So everybody who's on this call, I have a keynote speech that I do behind this. I unfortunately I read it after I had created a few Blue Oceans, but what you're talking about is exactly what that book teaches. So when you can raise value and lower price for all parties involved, that's called value innovation. And that's where a blue ocean is from. So a blue ocean is basically a non-existing market space that you create to go over and build your niche without swimming in the red ocean with all the sharks. And that's what probate was for me. Like later, I read that book and I'm like, holy crap, that's exactly what I did. And I lead with value. So my mantra in life and business is provide value first. And when you do that, when you can raise value and lower cost or save people money while benefiting everybody, not just your company, that is a lasting blue ocean. So if you haven't read that book, if you guys like to read, I like the audiobook version. It's about an 8.5 hour book on audio. But if you've got a good strategic business mind, you'll love it. It's an incredible book, and it'll help you see other opportunities even outside of probate. Just like Frank said, he saw the opportunity. He saw the ship was sailing on REO, so he very quickly started looking for blue water, and he found probate as his blue ocean. So I would encourage everybody on this call to take time this month to read that book. It will change the way you look at your business.
And Chad, I just want to mention that for the folks on here that are probably wondering, well, Frank, how did you and Chad get together? I happened to be on I don't know, somebody sent me a recording of one of your calls or something, and when I heard, really what you're about in your business philosophy, I'm sitting here looking at right on my desk is what I typed up. It says service before self-interest. And I look at that all day long as I'm sitting at my desk making calls, speaking to agents, speaking to listing prospects. So that's, I thought here's someone whose business philosophy aligns with my own, and we're in the same space. I wonder if there's a possibility for us to work together and provide more value for my clients. And that's exactly why you're here.
Yeah, I think we talked in October or November the first time, and when I first found out what you were doing, I'm like, wow, like that plugs in perfectly to what we're doing. So we can help your folks we basically are just an extension of what you've done for your folks already. So I'm excited for everybody to be here. I can't believe half of our audience can't get here right now, but we'll send the recordings out. So we'll keep rolling, guys. So kind of what to expect is I'm going to briefly touch on getting leads. I know you guys already have that part nailed. We're going to look at building your team and your offer, marketing best practices, the choke points that we've seen, and really how we've built the software and our service around those choke points to make them go away. And then I'll show you our system. So I'm going to show you, kind of talk about what we do, and then I'll actually take you behind the password and show you exactly what this looks like. Even to the point where I'm going to show you how we can automate Frank's lumpy mail letters. Like we've partnered up to help you guys out. We've got a mail house, and we'll show you exactly how we can automate what you're doing right now. You're not going to have to change anything. We're just going to do it for you if you want us to. So you all probably know this, and you've probably gone through the pain of doing this at least once. when we started this company, leads are kind of the commodity. And as you know, anyone can get probate leads for free in most cases. You just have to, well, free is debatable, but you have to spend your time or pay somebody else for their time. But what we do, we go to the courthouse every 30 days and gather leads for you. But if you're going to do it on your own, go to the courthouse, usually with pen and paper, pull the records, review them, handwrite the information for the deceased, the executor, the court information, the attorney information. When I did this, I pulled it all into an Excel spreadsheet. So it was sort of databased, and then I manually skip traced each one to find good, valid phone numbers, which was a challenge. I could find phone numbers, but a lot of times they weren't good. And then you have to find a way to systematically repeat this month after month and hopefully automate it. So that's kind of the good old-fashioned manual way. And I'll show you a little bit more about what we do from the data side. I think the biggest value in what we do is not the leads we provide, but the service and the systems that we wrap around it. So to me, the lead is the commodity, and that's something I never wanted to be in a downward price race or competing with someone else. So I said, but if we create a system where we can provide everything they need, but wrap it in like concierge level service and software and include all that in one price, then we've got something different and something people will stick around for. So what we teach is kind of teaching you to be the hub of the transaction. And from the very, very beginning, you're not identifying as a broker or an agent or an investor or anything else. You're identifying as a probate expert, probate specialist, whatever you want to label yourself, just make it different. The key is differentiation. So when you can surround yourself with a team, you can really differentiate yourself from any other competition, whether it's from agents or brokers or whoever. It also gives you the ability to provide multiple options to people. So rather than just saying, are you ready to list this home? You can, the story that I opened with, I told you I gave Pam 4 options ranging from closing in 2 or 3 days, as soon as we can get title done, to an 8-month closing with $25,000 above and beyond what what the house had expired for. And I was able to give her kind of a spectrum of options and let her self-select. So when you have a team around you and you've educated yourself to that extent, you can provide real value in the form of options, and no one can compete with that. Like, I will be very surprised if there's anyone on this call, if there's somebody in your market operating at this level right now, because it's a rare professional that actually goes to this extent. And the reality is, you're a little spot in the middle. Even though you're offering all these options, the people on the perimeter of this diagram, your partners, if you choose them right and you're aligning yourself with the right team members, they're going to do all the work. All you're going to do is queue them up. So you'll handle the real estate brokerage side. You can line up the estate sale company, the contractor, the clean out crew, set them up with a senior moving company to get them into the nursing home or into suitable housing. And then when everything's done, get them to your financial advisor so they can reinvest the money and set up an estate plan so future generations don't have to do it. All you're doing is sitting in the middle as the hub, getting these people to the right people that you've vetted and partnered with. And guess what? It's a two-way street. All those people are also sending business into the hub. Like each of the spokes, it's a symbiotic relationship. And we'll talk more about that. That's a lot of what we teach too, and creating your referral network. So the people on the team, and this is not an inclusive list. I'm just going to run through kind of some basics. So cash buyers, a lot of conversations start because sellers want a cash offer. Now, what they usually don't understand in the beginning is cash offers come at the price of typically a 20 to 40% discount. And they want full retail value, but they want cash and to close next week. So it's a good hook to put in your marketing. It's a good way to start the conversation. And it's always good to have a good, strong cash buyers list. The first thing I did when I moved to Roanoke was network with the local real estate investors group. And I found any way I could to provide value to them. I ended up speaking and presenting my market analysis. I just moved from Hawaii. I took a year's worth of GIS data and a year's worth of MLS data and merged them together. Well, what came out was something nobody had ever seen before. 30% of our market was happening off market. So there was 30% of the market was this black market for real estate that realtors didn't know about. And the investors didn't have any real analytics on it. It was all just kind of, they were anecdotal, their opinion of the market. So I did a presentation, and from that point on, I was the real estate expert in that group, from a brokerage standpoint. And I have, in a town of 100,000 people, I've got 138 cash buyers that I've either met personally or had a long phone call with and interviewed them. And I have notes on each one of them, like what they buy, whether they're flippers or landlords, they're tagged and categorized, and how they value each asset. So, like, for example, I sold a portfolio of 58 homes. It's been two Novembers ago, and I didn't leave my desk. I didn't meet the seller. I didn't meet the buyer, and I didn't see any of the houses. I sold 58 houses with a grand total of probably 20 minutes worth of work, and half of that was setting up the DocuSign. But it was just because I had taken the time to actually listen and understand their business, and I had them on my list, and they remembered me because I was the first real estate professional that talked their talk and actually cared to ask them how they valued. So having a strong cash buyers list can serve you in many ways in your business, especially in a down cycle. So the next time when the market corrects, and in my opinion, it's not too far away, when there's blood in the streets, you'll be the realtor that's making money because these cash buyers are waiting for that to happen. And just like in '06, I met most of my cash buyers in Maui in 2008 and 9 were guys from Arizona, California, Washington that saw the writing on the wall in 2006. They liquidated at the top of the market and sat in cash and waited. So those are the guys, it's always great to have those people on your list for the next market cycle. A couple quick ways to find them. Go to the REI group, so search Real Estate Investors Association in your town. A shorter term way is go to the next trustee sale. So show up at a foreclosure auction. Everybody there has a 10% down check in their pocket, and they typically have 10 to 30 days to come up with the rest. So you've got ready, willing, and able buyers. Estate sale companies, these are great partners to have. Honestly, you'll only use them every once in a while. Typically, I call this my golden safety net partner. So it's a relief for the family to know that I have a solution in hand that I can do everything. What usually ends up happening is it spurs them into action and they go do it themselves. So I'll probably use an estate sale company 1 in 25 times that I talk about them. But having that as part of my value is a huge advantage in the initial conversation. Couple of resources to find good estate sale companies: estate sales, so plural, estatesales.net, .org, and .com. And 2 of those 3 have merged. I don't remember which 2, but estatesales.net, .org, .com.
Chad?
Yes.
I just want to mention, your idea of going to the trustees sale, that actually happened to me by accident. One of my listings was being foreclosed on. We couldn't get it sold in time to beat the sale. So I went to the trustee sale to see if it really was going to happen. And the guy that bought it, I approached him, told him that I had the house listed, and turns out and I asked him, are you going to live in this house or resell it? He's like, no, I'm an investor, and stick around. I'm going to probably buy 10 or 15 more. So I hung out with him and it ended up becoming a listing agent for him for about 3 years. Nice. And we sold a ton of houses. I think he made the most money, but I did extremely well, and I learned a lot. So that's a fantastic idea. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And a pointer, guys, like a trustee sale is a lot like the World Series of Poker. These guys have oftentimes spent upwards of a month tracking this asset through and doing their due diligence. So don't get in the way don't try to talk to them when the auction's going on or even before it starts. It's a great learning experience to just go sit on the sidelines and watch the human. I love psychology. Like it's fun for me to watch the human behavior. But these guys, it's like walking up to a high stakes poker table. They've put a lot of work and money and resources into this already, and they may or may not get the deal. So sit back and enjoy the show, and then meet as many of those people as you can when the action's over, and you can have a conversation where you're not going to cost them an opportunity. Clean out crews will sometimes come with your estate sale company. If not, the best way I know to find a credible clean out crew is go find the top REO listing agent in your market that's doing HUD or Fannie Mae. they're going to have property preservation and clean out crews that have been vetted and they have insurance and they're used to working within, they're used to running their business like a business. Craigslist is a great place to find people who won't show up, will steal stuff, will quit halfway through the job. But if you can talk to the agents who are doing the REOs, they'll typically have good people that they'll share with you. A good title company or attorney that has experience with title issues. This is separate from the probate attorney. This is your real estate attorney, the person who's handling your escrow. I learned the hard way that you should have somebody who's used to hitting a lot of title issues. The best place to find this person is talking to your cash buyers. So when you're at the auction, when you're at REI, find out who they're using for their escrows. Because if they're representing a lot of investors, there's nothing they haven't seen. They've seen 15 heirs with 14 of them being dead and the other one in prison, and nobody can speak, nobody can read English. Like, they've dealt with that stuff and they have a system in place. So when you hit a title issue, they'll just blow right through it. Where with a conventional title company or attorney, if they hit resistance, a lot of times the deal just stops in its tracks and they expect you to do the work. So my advice is find out who the investors are using in town and run all of your probate deals through those title companies. Some other ideas: senior moving companies can provide a lot of value, especially with surviving spouses. Registered investment advisors, I purposely wrote that instead of financial advisor. Only about 30% of the financial services market actually has a fiduciary responsibility to their clients. Those people are called registered investment advisors, or RIAs. They're the only people I'll refer to, because I refuse to send somebody to a firm that can legally serve its best interest before its clients. So I have an RIA on my team. The idea there is service after the sale. Get the family over to them, do a free consultation. They may need to set up life insurance, an estate plan, a college savings plan. This is service beyond the sale that you're not going to monetize directly. You're not going to get a kickback from your financial advisor. But the next time he's sitting in front of somebody who has a living trust, who do you think the real estate questions are going to? When one of his wealthy clients needs real estate advice or needs to sell an asset, and it's in a trust where no one else can see it, that referral's coming right to you because you provided a steady flow of clients to him. Same thing with estate planning and family law attorneys. Think about how many past clients you have, and now think about how many of them have an estate plan. Statistically, it's less than 60% of them have an estate plan, but they all should, because probate is going to eat up 4 to 7% of their overall estate value. So why not reach out to your sphere of influence and say, you know what, listen, I'm raising the bar for myself in 2018. And I believe that there's something I never did for you that I should have. Would it be okay if I have somebody call you to discuss an estate plan, so I know that you don't have to go through what a lot of my other clients are going through? When they say yes, you've got a Class A referral to open up a relationship with a family law or an estate planning attorney. A lot of times these are also probate, the attorneys who are handling probate. So you lead with value. You turn your past clients into an A referral, and you use that A referral to open that relationship and provide value first. Then they'll reciprocate and they'll start sending you referrals from their trust clients, from their probate clients. You never know where your next deal is coming from. So it's again, a lot of this sounds like a lot of work. It's really not. It's just about knowing the right people to lead with value. I'm going to blow through this pretty quick, guys, because I've got a hard stop at 4 o'clock. So we're outbound marketing, so we're marketing directly to the personal representative. That's the term we use for data normalization. It's sometimes called the executor, the administrator, the public administrator, the fiduciary, all the same role. So because we're trying to normalize over 3,000 data inputs, we call it the personal representative. But that's who we're doing our outbound marketing to, and I'll talk more about what the marketing is. The second part of what we teach, and it's equally or maybe more important, is building your referral network. So you're going to do business with some of the personal reps, and they'll probably only represent one estate in their lifetime, statistically, sometimes two. But with attorneys and your sphere of influence, nursing home, retirement home employees, family law, and estate planning attorneys. These are people who can provide you a steady stream of business. I have people who I've coached. Just one individual comes to mind. He's in San Diego. He's done 100 closed transactions from a single attorney relationship. He just happened to bump into him at a dinner party at a friend's house. Now, if you're diligent and you meet all the probate attorneys in town, what can that equal over a career? And face-to-face is the only way to do this. Well, that's not true. I'll eat crow on that one. I used to say face-to-face is the only way. I now have built a call center, and I've got ISAs converting at 6.75%. They're getting through the gatekeeper, talking to the attorney, and getting you in front of them the next day or the next week, almost 7% of the time, which is huge. We sit down and call 100 attorneys. You got 7 face-to-face appointments next week. So it can be done on the phone. The most effective way is in person. In person, you'll get about 80% conversion, 90% conversion. So if you go visit 10 offices, you'll sit down and talk with 8 to 9 attorneys if you lead in the right way. And again, remember that hub, the diagram that I showed you. When an attorney understands that there's a real estate agent in his local market that's leading with his client's interest first, and that they have assembled this team of people to handle any possible situation, the family usually expects the attorney to do a lot more than they're actually going to do. And they don't find out until midway through the process that, holy crap, all this stuff's on my plate. I thought the attorney was supposed to do this. Then they're scrambling to find people. When attorneys understand that you have this service built around their clients, then they latch on to you. Like, we have people testifying in court. They get every divorce listing, every probate listing. They get every referral from these attorneys' offices. And before, they refused to refer to an agent because they didn't want to attach their name to an unprofessional person. So it's really easy to build these relationships because nobody else was doing it the right way. Excuse me. Same thing with your sphere of influence and these other people. Show them how your business can complement their business and their clients and their friends and family, and they'll be pushing your referrals all the time. So I'm going to talk about marketing best practices, what we teach. Now, understand, I'm teaching people in 50 states and over 3,000 counties, and a lot of them have limited budgets. I realize you guys are higher up the higher up the ladder on a different rung. So what we teach is a minimum of 3 direct mail pieces. We use a greeting card envelope with a live first class stamp and handwriting. We are now getting our mail set up probably by the end of today. We'll be actually doing the lumpy mail that you guys are used to seeing and what's been effective for you. Anytime we see proof that something works, we include it in our system. So we know that 83% of sales happen between marketing touch 5 and 12. So the more frequency you have in your campaign, the more touches in the sequence, the more likely you are to convert this business. But as a minimum effective dose, we teach 3 letters and then follow each letter with a phone call. We space these out over 30 days between. So letter 1 and phone call 1 is immediately, and then wait 30 days, repeat, wait 30 days, repeat. In a perfect world, you should continue this sequence until you've spoken to everybody and you know whether they need your service or not. But that becomes too costly for most people. So we just to teach general practice, it's 3 and 3. Networking is kind of free usually, other than the cocktails, but everyone you meet in your community should understand your business model and what it is you bring to the table to help families. A website, in the beginning, I didn't see the value of it. Once I got started, I got come list me calls left and right because of my website. The website is not a conversion tool. It's not a lead gen tool. It's simply an extension of your letter. So they're going to get your letter. They'll read the PS line. They'll go to your website. We provide custom designed WordPress websites, and I'll show you one of those here in a bit. But the point of that is to give you credibility, and then that elicits the inbound phone call. That was a huge part of my success and the come list me calls. And then print collateral. So we do trifolds, business cards, brochures, basically anything that you could want. We have had someone ask for it, and we built our mail house and our print business out of necessity. We sure as heck didn't want to be in that business, but we saw that as one of the biggest choke points, so we built it, and that's kind of grown into websites and print collateral and everything else. So the choke points that I talked about, and where we see most people get wrapped around the axle and kind of lose control of this and eventually quit, is first, not getting the leads. So it can get costly and time consuming, getting in the car, going downtown, going to the courthouse. If you're like me, like I was in Virginia, which is a Commonwealth. So in an MSA of the entire valley, 300,000 people, it appears to someone driving through, it looks like one city. It takes you 15 minutes to drive across it, but there's 6 courthouses in that city. So it was 2 days worth of work for me to go gather 1 month of probate data. And that's where most people get, that's the first choke point they hit, is not consistently gathering the leads so the campaign has fuel to run on. The second is not getting accurate phone numbers. I've used services like Spokio and Intellius and different ones, and they're pretty good. I mean, they're 60% accurate, but that's 40% of the people that I don't get in touch with. I see a lot of people get wrapped around the axle trying to fulfill their own direct mail. So the average real estate agent in this country last year made $48,000. So that's about $25 an hour. If you account for the time it takes you to go shop for, receive, open, address, stamp stuff, everything that it takes to get a piece of direct mail in their mailbox, you're talking hours and hours of your time. And at $25 an hour, that's just if you're average. If you're a 6-digit agent, you're likely costing yourself hundreds of bucks just trying to save money. Ask me how I know. I sit down and done the math, and I was doing this. Me, my $18 an hour assistant, we were, quote, saving money by doing our own mail. And then I sit down and figured out, it took us 58 cents for the mail piece. But then I figured out the gas and the time and everything, the real cost, and we were losing money hand over fist. So that's kind of where our mailing department was born. But that's where most people get bogged down. They get bogged down in the logistics of handling, because if you're running a 4-piece mailer, and you're running it runs for 4 months. Well, at month 4, when you hit critical mass, you're managing 16 mail pieces. And that means you have to manage 16 separate lists to keep track of the mail pieces and know who got what and when. And then if you're doing phone calls, then you're managing 16 different phone calls. So you've got 32 moving parts that you have to manage in addition to running your business. So it can get overwhelming really quick, even for a strong operational person. Managing the leads, so getting them into a spreadsheet or a CRM and managing them and keeping them up to date so you're not wasting money sending people mail and making phone calls to people who have already told you no or didn't have real estate. And one of the biggest is just simply not making the phone calls. That's what will give you the ultimate edge, is getting on the phone and speaking confidently about this, because very few people have access to the phone numbers. But more importantly, very few people think outside of themselves. They have a very selfish, one-sided approach. They send out a letter and expect the phone to ring, and then they have one offer. So when you're really clear on your offer and you reach out on the phone, this is the easiest listing business there is, in my opinion. But most people never get on the phones, and they never get real clear on what their offer is, or they just offer the same damn thing they offer to every seller. The same, look at my iPad listing presentation. I've got these great signs, and my marketing's great, and my broker, and this, look at my red business cards. And it's nothing about their situation. They're not focusing on the people. They're focusing on what they think, works. So that's a big the big part of what we teach is getting people to broaden their scope of service, so it's actually valuable to these people. And then just not automating the campaign. So even if you can do this 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, when you hit that 4-month mark, if you're doing all this manually, getting the lead yourself, doing all your mail, managing 16 different mail pieces and 16 different phone follow-ups, it's just a matter of time before you fizzle out. Ask me how I know that, because I made it in a few months, and I'm like, we got to do something. And that's when we started improving the system. When we first started, we emailed spreadsheets to people, and we told them to do their own mail. And we've constantly improved on that. I'll show you what it looks like here in just a second. So what we do for you guys, we provide every probate lead from your county courthouse. Usually, in 90% of cases, we're sending a live researcher into the courthouse to do the data gathering, and we deliver it into a custom CRM every 30 days. Once we've done that, we add phone numbers for the personal representative, and if there was not a number for the attorney, we'll add the number for the attorney. Trying to jump over to the CRM here, guys. There's the culprit. So when you log in, this is a demo account that I set up just for this. So there's only one lead file in here, but we deliver your leads in a list. So they're segmented by month. And then this would normally be the county. And then you'll click in and you'll see the leads. So this is a kind of a list view where you can download them for printing, for mailing. So if you're doing everything on your own, you can manage it from right here. You can sort by lead status. You can sort by the county if you have more than one county. You order mail directly from the system. I want to show you the data, so we'll click in. And this is just a sample lead. So we're going to give you information on the personal rep with up to 4 phone numbers. These are in kind of cascading order. So number 1 is typically a personal cell phone. This could be a home phone, office phone, spouse phone, but it's directly related to this person, Betsy Ross. That's funny. Then we have everything on file for the deceased, for the attorney, and then all the court information. In here, you can create short codes to manage your own leads. Like if you want to say something like possible private money lead, somebody who's already sold the house, you can do like a hashtag, and then this will create a tag, so you can start tagging people with this and customizing your database. It's a really simple CRM. It wasn't built to sell or be one of the contenders in the red ocean of the million CRMs out there. This is really designed just to help our folks manage their campaigns. So you track your phone calls and put your notes here. Under option status, these are the money buttons. So you remember I told you we would actually opt out. So when we go through and we speak to somebody and they're not interested in selling, let's just say this one already sold. So we're going to opt them out of mail, calls, and emails, and then save the lead settings. So this means the next time that either we send mail ourselves or we send it on this client's behalf, then this will save them money. So we've built the system not only to manage your campaign, but to save you money every step of the way. And we'll come back here. I'll show you a few other things in here. ISA services. So starting back in, I guess, December or January, I took this live. We've built a domestic call center, and we're converting personal representative calls at about 3%. So it takes us 48 leads to set an appointment. 2 and 3 appointments are turning to closed listings. With attorneys, we're converting at right now 6.75%. So if we call 100 attorneys on your behalf, you'll be in front of 7 of them the next week. And that's something that this works in tandem with our mail system as well, which we'll talk about now. So we've got proven letter templates. We have ours, and we also have Frank's letters, the ones you guys are used to. I'll show you how to order that stuff. I'll show you how to access that here in a minute. The important part is we automate everything. So once you set up your mail campaign, you can click a button for autopilot. And every month we deliver your leads into the CRM. The CRM triggers an order to the mail house. The mail house fulfills, and then they trigger an order to the ISA team. And the ISA team fulfills, and you'll get a copy of your own letter in the mail. So when everybody else got their letter, we send you a copy. And then you'll get a report on your call campaign. And we'll tell you, obviously, while the call campaign's happening, you're going to get text message and email notifications each time you have an appointment in real time. But at the end of the call campaign, everything will be updated in your CRM, and you'll know exactly what happened. So we automate the whole thing. We do a custom WordPress websites, and I'll just jump over there and show you guys a couple of those. So this is an example of a website. Now we're actually going to have these specific to your all's organization. So the copy on the sites will correspond with the letters that you're mailing. We don't have the template ready yet. We will have, this is just a general template. This is WordPress, so we can make it look and feel any way you want. We can interface it using the menu directly to your existing website. Change out any of the images, change the colors. We'll customize it and make it a custom website for you for $200 and $39 a month. And again, it's not for lead conversion or SEO or ranking. It's just a matter of, it's a credibility piece, and it works extremely well. We have over 200 hours of professional training. So when you're in the subscriber portal, a lot of different things. It's a very menu-driven site. If you see up here, you have coaching and training. So Fast Track is our basic training that we offer to all subscribers. It's broken into 3 modules that will put, probably a lot of what you've learned with Frank. Conference calls. So every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, we do a nationwide probate mastermind call. We have 174 of these archived. You can see the dial-in information here, and then you can access the archive up here. Right before this call, I finished our May role play call. So for an hour, I jump in the hot seat, and people from all over the country come and beat me up and try to just shut me down. And we have now 30 hours of archived role play material that you can listen to. And then while we're here, I'll go ahead and show you. So we've got All the Leads Mastermind is our Facebook group. There's about 2,000 people in this group. And what's really cool, this is one of the things I'm most proud of in our company. You can see this isn't us posting. These are our customers. They're in here helping each other. They're getting vulnerable, saying, here's where I'm getting stuck. What do you guys do? I also archive our mastermind and role play calls in here. So you will see some posts from me, but for the most part, this is an active community of over 2,000 people around the country that are doing exactly what we're talking about here. They're serving families in probate. So those are some of the resources we have. The advanced training. So I do a course once a month called Probate Mastery. If you look under coaching and training, there's a course outline. There's a video that kind of summarizes, but we break it into 3 sessions over 3 afternoons. And I've got a hard stop in 12 minutes to go teach this class. But for $250, I give you, it's over 6 hours of content. And I would say this is the deepest dive. I mean, I take everything that I learned as an investor, as a realtor, as every other hat that I've worn in real estate, and teach you, one, why this is an opportunity, kind of the statistics behind it, how to get real clear on your offer and your strategy and get your team built. And then we spend over 2 hours just working on the initial conversation and how to breaking the conversation down into layers and showing you how to get people to engage on the phone. So that's something else we offer. We talked about the mastermind call, the role play calls, and the Facebook group. And because we're short on time, I'm going to jump to Q&A. One last thing I want to show you guys. If you look at the domain on the URL here at the bottom, alltheleads.com/Frank Patrick, that's going to take you to this landing page, and you'll get to see a picture of me in my office there. But you can check if you're interested in what the lead count is in your county. If you're interested in leads, you can click here, and it'll take you to the state level, and then you drill down into your county level, and we'll show you how many we're getting. We don't have pricing on here because we have over 3,000 prices, and it's just a management nightmare. But you can fill out the form on that page, or you can call the number on the screen, and Jim or Darcy will get you the pricing. If you're interested in the mail service, just kind of automating what you're already doing, and you want to continue gathering leads on your own, you can click this button here. This will kind of show you the samples of, this is our lumpy mail sample. And then down here, some copy explaining how to place your order. If you ever have trouble with this, you can call the number at the top of the page and ask for the mail department, or you can email support@alltheleads.com, and we can help you place the order if you're having trouble. But it's pretty simple. You browse to the file you want to use. You say if it's an attorney or a personal rep campaign, and you choose how many steps in the sequence you want to do this. The letters and everything. So we're going to have you guys set up like as subscribers. So if you go into, oh, that's the public side. When you're in your subscriber portal, got too many tabs open here, guys. Under Mailbox Motivator, you'll see Order Frank Patrick Letters. So you can jump in here and set up your campaign sequence as well. So either from the landing page, or if you are a subscriber, you can jump up into Mailbox Motivator and grab that. And I'll show you guys, this is what most of our subscribers would see. Actually, it's displaying different, but you can see all of your past orders will archive here. And then all the letters that you can use will be down here. And I would love to spend some more time, guys. We're coming up on 9 minutes, so I'm going to open up the lines for Q&A, so you have a chance to get your questions answered.
Chad, before we get started on the questions, I guess, right now, my people are spending about $18 on their own for a total of 4 letters. So by the time they order the pens, envelopes, magnets, paper, ink, postage, they're spending about $18 total. That's not including their labor, to
Right.
lick them, stick them, stamp them, and deliver them to the post office. Can you give us an idea of what it's going to cost them if they were to use your service?
I'm 99% sure. Tim came in and told me this earlier. It's $11.99.
Yep.
So we can do everything like your
Around
mail
$12.
merge. Yeah. So for $12, we will completely automate your campaign.
So it's not only is this going to save them a tremendous amount of time and make sure everything happens consistently, but it's actually going to cost them less money than if they did it themselves.
Yeah, like 30% less.
Yeah. So I want everybody to understand that's on the call. This is a way for you to get out of doing the manual labor and get it done for less money. It's a win-win.
Yeah. And that's our goal, guys. I mean, obviously we're in business, so we need to make money, but we try to find ways to help you guys and provide more value than you expect. And when we do it at scale, we can do it a heck of a lot cheaper than you can. So
there are going to be a few changes to the mailing pieces. The envelopes are going to be one of the envelopes is going to be different than what we've been sending, just because the post office is changing their policy on sending pseudo express mail envelopes. So that's coming to an end. So we'll have our own version, our own envelope that we're testing to make sure it gets the same response. But the message will be the same. The first letter will still contain a pin. The second letter will have your refrigerator magnet and the PDF of the executor's duties of the timeline. The third one will have the $100 drop card. So the direct mail is going to stay the same as what you're mailing now, and it'll be branded with your information. So you'll be able to put your telephone number, broker information, etc. All that stuff will be able to be added, but it's just going to be on autopilot. Whether you get your own leads and upload them, or you purchase the leads from all the leads, this will automate your mailing. No more ordering things in bulk and forcing your kids to do it on the weekends.
All right, guys, we'll jump to the questions box. I don't have it open here.
Let's see. Is there, is once a month gathering the leads enough? So this is a couple of people want to know why you guys only get the leads once a month.
So we're serving, like I said, over 3,000 counties, and we have a team of researchers. We have to pay a researcher each time they drive to the courthouse. Some courthouses we have to pay for access to, like $50 per visit. And some of them have a limit on the number of leads we can pull per day. So in order to keep the cost as low as we can, we decided that we would set a standard of 30 days. Now, there are some markets Well, I'll say in most markets, we can do a bi-monthly delivery or even a weekly delivery. It's just going to come at a cost. So we have to pay typically like $75 for as a minimum to get somebody in their car downtown, go in, pull the data, bring it back, database it. It just costs us. There's a little bit of a premium because we have to pay the researcher twice versus once. But that's kind of how why the standard is the way it is. And we can make exceptions in most cases.
All right. Let's see what we've got here. I'm going to start at the top. Let's see. Somebody's been speaking with Darcy. Would that be her contact person? So if they're already dealing with Darcy at your company, do they have one contact person, or do you just deal with whomever you get on the phone?
It's really whoever. I mean, our sales team is small, but if you've been working with Darcy, I would say continue with her. You can call her.
All right. Let's see. Beyond the monthly call to the executor, what are some ways to open up these conversations with them? I'd say the letter is pretty much.
Yeah, I mean the letter is your first line. Hopefully you get an inbound call, but even a phenomenally successful direct mail campaign, you're going to get like 5% inbound response. So that's why it's really important to follow the letter. I would say it's never a good idea not to send the letter, because the letter really warms up the phone call. What I've found, and I've tested this every possible which way, guys, and what I find to be the best combination is send the letter and then call referencing that letter to open the conversation. And if you get an opportunity, jump into our Facebook group, All the Leads Mastermind, request access, and I'll let you in. And after 6 o'clock, when I finish the mastery training, I'll post the role play call number 30 from this afternoon. You'll hear me in the very beginning of that call. We jump right into this. So you'll hear exactly how I use the letter to start the conversation. And that's it's working in markets, rural, metro. It doesn't matter how competitive or how sleepy a market is. It's been effective everywhere.
All right. Our next message or question is from Karen. Do you provide your service in Idaho?
We provide it in all 50 states and over 3,143 counties.
Awesome. Next question from Kay. Is there a contract?
No contracts. I don't believe in them. If I'm providing value first, then why do I need a contract?
And this is addition to that question. If they use the service for 3 or 4 months, quit, who gets the CRM file and the leads that are already captured?
We leave it open for you.
Okay.
You paid for it. You made an investment. We're here to get you an ROI, not take your money.
Fair enough. Let's see. This is from Ted. No, why are the leads provided monthly? I think you already answered that. Do you have online tech support with a live person?
We have all kinds of tech support. So all 4 business partners work in the business actively. You can call me directly. You can call any of my partners directly. We answer phones between usually 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern. We deal with support tickets probably 18 or 19 hours a day. It's rare that anyone goes more than, during business hours, more than 20 minutes before they get a live person to call them back. And if you call, you'll always get a live answer. We have a cascading phone system.
This is a question from Bill. He wants to know if the leads are scrubbed to confirm that there's real estate in the case.
No, if you're going to lose money, I want you to be responsible for it, not me.
Okay.
I know that's kind of a smart ass answer. I've got dozens upon dozens of stories of people who picked up the phone, focused on people. There was no real estate, but they landed listings and made money in all kinds of different ways. So my stance, and I'm pretty firm in that, is we gather all the probate leads because we know this is a targeted lead, regardless of if they have real estate or not. If you're thinking broad enough, if you're thinking with like I told you, have an open mind about this, there are so many ways for you to help these people. And there's so many ways for those people to pay you for your value. And so just 3 weeks ago on our mastermind call, a guy was in, I can't remember what state. He called. The personal representative was a son. He was the only child. His father died. His estate was over 100,000, so he had to file probate. But it was all like in a life insurance policy. He owned no real estate. He had an old crappy car. He didn't really have anything. And the guy's like, you know, man, I don't really need any help with the estate. It's pretty straightforward. Dad lived a simple life, but I am actually getting ready to sell my house, and I just can't believe like you would go this far to help people. Like, you want to come look at my house? He took a $1.6 million listing, sold it the next day or the first day it was on the market, and then moved him up into a $2.4 million house. So the guy made like he made like 90 grand because he didn't scrub his list. And we've got a lot of people don't want to hear this answer, but we've had a couple of mistakes where people forgot to scrub their list and it got pushed through to our call center. And they've made, like the last one, it was a public told you so moment. But a gentleman in Memphis, Tennessee made a $12,000 commission because he forgot to scrub his list, and we cut the call center loose on it. And they had he scrubbed the list for real estate owned, he wouldn't have gotten that $12,000 commission. So we don't scrub it. I really just believe that the best practice is pick up the phone and lead with a servant's heart, and you'll be covered up in business.
Awesome. I've got a couple questions about do they need to have their own CRM? And I think you answered that. That's provided free of charge, correct? If they're using the mailings or buying their leads from you.
It is. So the CRM is included. Frank, I just looked at the clock. I'm 2 minutes late.
Okay.
I've got probably 50 people waiting on me.
I will make sure everybody has a recording of this, and we'll figure out a way that they can get their questions answered if they have questions. And we'll let you know
what I was going to offer, I apologize, I'm jammed this week, but if we want to set a follow-up call where we can do a phone call or a webinar, because we maxed this one out, if you guys want to come back and even if it's just a Q&A, I'll make myself available. But right now I've got a bunch of people waiting on the other line.
Very good. Thank you, Chad.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Bye-bye.